Hello. What's up, everybody? What's up? I'm so excited today. Today I have a really cool guest that we brought on. A good friend of Armani's has kind of told me a lot of great things. So, welcome to the B&E podcast. This is the beginning of the never ending. This is the story of people, the origin story of where we're from, how we came to be, and the life that we've lived, and hopefully able to share that to the world and just be able to remember those people who, in a small way, in a big way, have made a difference in our lives. So I'm excited to introduce Eric. How do you say that?
Lemongo.
Lemongo.
Yes,
That's
sir.
so cool. I want to get really into it because one of the things I'm really excited about specifically with you is just how like I've seen you. You're like I've been watching you through your Instagram. I've been going through your content,
Okay.
and like you're a funny guy. Like you're a really funny guy. So I'm curious on like where that came from and like where how that kind of came to be. But yeah, what's the story? Like let's start from the beginning. Like where's your family from? Like where I don't know what ancestry you have if you remember any of that. But like tell me what's up. What's going on?
Okay. So, me, I was born in America,
Okay.
California, Los Angeles. My father is actually from Cameroon, so he was born and raised in Cameroon. And I believe he came over here around when he was 19, 20.
You mind lowering that mic a little bit?
Okay.
Just pull this bar right here. Yeah, just pull that down just a tad. Yeah, you want to get the face.
So, yeah, my dad was born and raised in Cameroon. He came around when he was 19. My mom, her family's from the South, Mississippi. I never asked her when she moved to California, but yeah, they both met in California. My dad said he was in the police academy. I think.
Yo.
Yeah, so he was a cadet, and he met my mom. He, I think he was at the hot dog Wiener Schnitzel, I think.
Sure.
So he met her at Wiener Schnitzel. He was in uniform, and I guess it was love at first sight.
And so one of the things I'm curious about, right, is so I took ancestry.com, okay?
Okay.
Cameroon is like a big like a part. I'm like Benin, Togo, Cameroon, like that kind of
Okay.
area.
Okay.
What type of personality does your father have?
Whew. Um, so I would say my dad was a very loving person.
Hmm.
He was a big people person. Um, Giving, very, bro, my dad was great. He was giving, very funny, comedian, life of the party. I mean, if I could call up 10 people, they'll tell you, like, when it's time to go out, my dad is stepping out. You feel me? So, yeah, he was a cool dude, and he was big on family, which is one of the things I really appreciate about him. He was big on family, made sure the family stayed together, and yeah, man, he was a great guy, man.
Have you got to meet his I don't know if you got to meet his father, his mother.
So he lost his father at a young age.
Hmm.
His mother passed away the year I was born, so I never got to meet either of them. But I've went home and I've seen uncles, cousins. Yeah, it's a pretty big family, man.
Well, you went out to.
Yeah, I went to Cameroon, bro.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, bro, it's lit. It's lit out there, man.
That's awesome. Was it were you young when you went out there, or were you pretty much?
I actually went, I think it was 2021. I went out there.
Oh, so it was recent.
Recently.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, excited to get into that.
Mm.
So, your mother's side. What type of personality is your mom?
Oof, man, my mom was she's a hothead.
Sure.
Yeah, but she loved us too. You know, mothers love their children. She was a hothead. She was loving, also a comedian, a very vibrant, very vibrant soul, I would say.
Sure.
And I don't know, it was just like if you've ever met a strong woman, she was a very strong woman, bro. Very strong. Love her dearly, bro.
And she's from California.
She's from California. I don't know if she was born in Mississippi, but her family's from Mississippi.
Okay.
She's in California.
Okay.
She's in California.
Your mother, her mother, her
I
father.
I got to meet my grandma and my grandpa. My grandma passed when I was 7, and my grandpa actually passed maybe like last year. Mhm.
So it seems like your grandfather was the most connection you was able to kind of build
But even then, it wasn't the best connection.
because he's in Mississippi.
No,
Oh.
it wasn't even that. It was in Mississippi. It was a lot of drama. So my dad tried to keep us away from the drama and just keep the family close knit. You know, so.
So this is very immediate family, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, do you have any brothers or sisters, or
Actually have 3 brothers.
you have 3 brothers?
Yes. Yes.
That seems like a real like. Are you youngest, oldest? What?
I'm the oldest, actually.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're young. You're young yourself. So
Yeah.
so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it's cool. Got all the little mini me's. You feel me? Looking up to me. So.
Yo, so what type of what type of personality do they have? Well, I guess let's start off with like kind of the childhood. Like what was that like?
Childhood growing up, it was hard.
What city? I don't know what city you're in.
Well, I was raised in South Central.
Okay, so you were out there.
Yeah, I was out there.
You're out
I
there.
was out there. Childhood. Let's say like, okay, so starting like when I was 3, that's when my first young brother was born. So we're like all damn near 3 years apart.
Oh, that's okay.
Right. So growing up, it was kind of weird. You know, when you're a kid, you're kind of on autopilot.
Right.
So we were always together, of course. We went out, we did a lot of things. My mom was, like I said, she was very, you know, strong-minded, hard-headed. So
Yeah.
it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was arguments in the house, but when it came time for family, it was family time. You know, if we're going to the movies, which was a big thing, my dad damn near took us to the movies every Saturday. You know, water parks. My dad is spending money to make sure we have a good time. Then it came my second brother, or my second young brother. His name is Edward. He actually has autism. So he was born, and when he was born, it was a little different in the house because this was a time where my mom and my dad weren't seeing eye to eye. So they were clashing almost every day. But you know, one thing I'll say about my mom is she stayed for her kids for the most part. She stayed for her kids, and you know, it was cool. Like I had 2 little brothers. I felt the bravado, like the macho man, like I'm taking care of my brothers, you know what I'm saying? And my mom was actually trying to work. My dad worked all day, every day. You know what I'm saying?
What was he doing?
So, like, I don't know exactly what he did.
Sure.
But he had he owned a medical supply company.
Oh, wow.
And he owned a doctor's office. So, you know, he was making his money. So, yeah.
Right.
Right. But yeah,
those are not easy crafts too. I mean, those are something you, if especially managing businesses, can be really stressful.
Oh man,
yeah.
Yeah,
You got 3 boys running around. One of so imagine that could cause a lot of stuff. And you're in the South Central. What is that kind of feeling like in the environment that you're in?
Okay, so and I'll be honest, my dad was I when I start to think back of like why my dad did what he did, he's a very smart man. My dad didn't let us hang out, so he would. When we actually had a house, it was on 85th in Manchester, which if you guys don't know is in a gangster's neighborhood, a gangster's neighborhood, so or Hoover side, whatever you want to say. But we were, like I said, we were confined to our gates. We had a big yard, big front yard, big backyard. If kids wanted to come play with us, we could. So we would be out in the front, kids from both sides of the neighborhood. Okay, we know my dad had money, so like I said, he's spending money to make sure we're cool. We had bikes, toys, everything. So yeah, kids would come around, and it'll be fun. And when I went to school, I was going to school and I was coming home. There was no, let me go to my friend's house.
Right.
Let me go over here. Let's do this.
No hooligan stuff.
None of that, bro. So
Pops was not having it.
Nah, yeah, my pops was a smart dude, and it was pretty cool though. I enjoyed being a kid, you know what I'm saying?
That's good.
Yeah, I didn't really have any.
Something's off. Hopefully you'll figure that out. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't have any, you know, complaints about how I lived my childhood.
Do you kind of feel as if like, you know, some of the things I find is most interesting is kind of being in a world, especially like LA, right? Where you have a ton of different cultures just clashed in one type of environment because your father is essentially an immigrant, right? So
Facts.
you know you're kind of first generation here in a way, you know. So he's coming from this mindset like he has to make it, like this is it, like this is the shot, you know. And I think can put a lot of pressure on your kids to kind of perform at that level as well. How was kind of the school life?
Oof, man. That's one thing I will say. My dad was really big on school.
Yeah.
When it came time to study, he wasn't playing. You know what I'm saying? And all the stereotypes that you think, if you are messing up in school, you get in whooping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's no
Right.
joke.
Right.
So, my dad was smart. Oh Lord! Like if you ask his family, straight A student all throughout school. When he got in college,
Mm.
I think he had like a 3.9 GPA when he graduated from technical school.
Mm.
He was on his way to becoming an engineer.
Right.
My dad told me, he said, when I seen the amount of money that they were paying as an engineer, I decided to stop going to school. Because he like, I can do this on my own. So, yeah, like school was like, this is what it is. Like, I'm not going to lie. I was a bad kid.
Sure.
But I had great grades because my dad was on me every day. I'm talking, where's your homework? I need to see it. Is it done 100% correct? I'm talking no mistakes. And we're sitting at the table till 1 a.m. as a 9-year-old like, oh, you don't understand this math problem. You're going to get this math problem. You feel me? So,
Sure.
yeah, that's one thing, like I said, that he was big on with school. So I appreciate it, though, because now when I'm going through school, I'm like, this is easy.
Right.
This is easy. You know what I'm saying?
The foundation's been built.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
it allows you to be able to learn easier.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. I think I imagine that having brothers,
Mhm.
right? Kind of being in that kind of close knit thing. I guess did it feel lonely at all? Did the lack of, like you mentioned you couldn't really hang out with your friends and stuff like that, or
Did I feel lonely?
are you still hanging out with the homies? You mentioned you were a little bad because we're all a little bad, right?
I was bad. What I felt? Did I feel lonely? Well, you got to think, like, as a kid, psychologically, you only know what you're taught.
Sure.
So I'm thinking, like, it's okay because this is regular. Like, now, when I got older and I went to high school,
Right.
I found out that people been hanging out since they were in kindergarten. I'm like, damn, I never slept over anybody's house until I got into high school.
Right.
So it's kind of weird, but did I feel lonely? No. I also didn't like a lot of kids because kids were mean.
Sure.
I always been a chunky kid, so I always got bullied. So it was more like, my family doesn't make fun of me. They give me the validation that I need. So I don't really need too many friends. But then again, I was also like the popular kid in school. So everybody messed with me, but then everybody messed with me,
Sure.
So it was a weird dynamic. So I didn't even feel lonely though. I
Okay.
didn't feel lonely for sure.
Any friends that you can name, like some people who were kind of close? Any close friends at all?
People that I still to this day got a friend named Davion, Xavier, Deshaun, Jalen, a lot of.
Oh, actually, you got a lot of.
Yeah, I got a
acquaintances.
lot of.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm still cool with them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
That's cool. All right. So, you mentioned your third brother,
Mm-hmm.
right? When did the fourth come to terms?
No. So I have 3 brothers.
Oh, excuse me. So I guess the second one. Excuse me. When did the third one come in?
The third one came when I turned 9 years old. From what I can remember, because this is like in the craziness, So,
Sure.
When he was born, I believe I gotta think. 2009. What grade would I be in? I'm 22 now, so.
Oh shoot. Yeah, you mad young. Yo, man, what's going on here? I think you must be probably in like getting out of fifth grade, right? Is that 5th grade or 6th grade? I don't know. Sarah, help us, man. You gotta be able to help people.
Yeah. When I remember now. When I'm 9 years old, my brother's born. We're living in Koreatown.
Whoa.
Yeah, bro, we moved so much.
Really?
But we never changed schools, which was good. We never
Okay.
changed schools. So we moved a lot within LA, but we never changed schools. So we're living in Koreatown at the time when my last brother was born. Yeah.
So, but again, I think the each environment that you moved. How many? Do you remember these spots you moved to?
I could try to name them off. They were relatively in the same vicinity, not too far apart.
Sure.
So-
LA's kind of like that though.
Yeah.
It's like you go like 3 blocks, all of a sudden you're in a whole different world.
Yeah. That is true. So, Koreatown, downtown LA.
Mm.
And we lived in like the Koreatown area, downtown LA, till I got out of sixth grade. So once I passed sixth grade, that's when things started to like change up a lot. So then we moved. We were living in like the 20s,
Ooh.
the 30s. We done lived all the way in Watts. We done lived Imperial Courts. We've been to,
Oh, this is almost like every year almost.
dude, almost every year.
Every new lease, you kind of was it. So okay, so my question here, what did you like the most? What city did you kind of did it even matter to you? Was it even in your retrospect? Or was
But you got to think, I don't hang out.
right.
Like, as far as like niceness, I kind of liked our house on 85th
Okay.
because it was like the closest thing like to a house, a home. Excuse me. So yeah, if I had to say anything, it'd be the house on 85th.
Yeah, drink some water, brother. So my question for you though, now you're kind of like entering middle school. Any sports? Any like kind of like
By the time I got into fifth grade, I started playing football for the
Okay.
Park Chargers. It's a park called Rancho. I don't know if it's Rancho Cienega, but this is where Dorsey. You know Dorsey High School.
yeah.
Okay, so this is the Dorsey High School football field, but I'm fifth grade and I'm playing for the Leimert Park Chargers. Yeah. But that was the only sport at the time.
Did you was sports a big part of your life?
Was sports a big part of my life? Well, I enjoyed playing in general because it was like what you say. You know, it's like this is the only thing I'm doing outside of school. I don't hang out. I don't do a lot. So it was a big part of my, what do you say, like my upbringing. Yeah.
And that was just purely football.
Football. Yeah. I mean, I did karate too. I did taekwondo.
Yo.
Um,
In Koreatown, probably, right?
I did taekwondo in Koreatown. Believe it or not, I did step dancing, and I did tap dancing. Oh, my bad.
Are you straight? How'd you enjoy that?
Bro, that was fun.
Dude, tap is actually really cool. I think people don't understand,
yeah.
right? But it's actually really cool, especially if you can get the little, get the
little
rhythm. Yeah, you
yeah,
kind of do
bro.
some cool stuff, yeah?
People
Yeah.
always ask me, because I still play sports, so people always ask me like, oh my God, like you're big, but you move so good. I'm like, bro, that's that.
Them calf muscles.
Yeah,
bro.
everything.
Gotta stay strong with them calves.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, so enjoyable. That's crazy. You're bringing all the feelings back, you know?
No, but that's cool, right?
Yeah.
It's good to look back on these things because people don't. It's hard to kind of learn how to move forward when you don't really know where you can't remember where you came from.
Exactly.
And that's why the whole kind of goal of this, right? Is to archive these moments because, man, we don't know how to get older. We might forget. So
exactly.
try to get these things down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool. So football, you did some tap, you did some other stuff, but it seems like no real extracurricular activities, really, right?
Yes.
So you're just in the books, really, or just with your boys or with your brothers?
Books, but like I mean, like I said,
Were you a gamer at all, or just was
oh
it?
man, was I a gamer? I'm talking
Oh, so you're
big gamer.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there it is. All
Oh,
right.
you're asking like just in general?
Yeah, kind of. What was like what did you spend like, outside of school? Kind of what were you spending most of your
Oh,
time doing?
okay.
Yeah.
So, a gamer, man, oh Lord, gamer, big movie fanatic. So I'm always watching
Clearly,
movies.
right?
Like we had the whole the drawer with the CDs. We had everything. So I'm up watching movies. I did do drawing. I wasn't always good. So, I'm like just now refining my drawing skills. So,
Right.
Yeah. So, draw it a lot. I like to go to my cousin's house.
Okay.
Have fun. So, it's really just family activities, bro.
Just spending time with the family.
Yeah. But yeah.
Every Friday, you guys used to watch movies.
bro. Well, it's Saturday,
Saturday,
but same difference.
So what do you think is like your favorite movie? Do you have one?
Favorite movie? That's
good to know,
hard
bro. Come on, now they
question, bro.
gotta have that, right?
I'm
You've
more
seen so many. I mean, you
Yeah.
might.
My favorite movie series growing up was Rush Hour.
Oh yes,
Yeah. So
yes.
Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan, big. Oh yeah. Funny, Last Dragon.
Oh, okay.
You know Last Dragon. With,
Yeah.
Bruce Lee. Role?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Funny as heck. Yeah. Yeah, those are like my thing. I love action movies. From my dad though. Dad was a big action movie person.
That's good.
You know, so
My
he
pops is a huge sci-fi action movie guy too.
that's fine.
So that's dope. I like that. Okay. But you gamed as well.
Oh yeah.
Imagine the movies played an influence on that.
Oh yeah.
So what were you playing? Are you like Xbox Live in here? I don't know what type of
Oh
what
Lord.
era
Nah,
we're in.
I was a PlayStation kid, so yeah, I was on PlayStation. I had PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and I got a PlayStation 4. Now I'm an Xbox person
Okay.
because it's cheaper.
It's true.
Yeah, the PlayStation. I'm not paying $500 for a PlayStation,
Yo, it's so true, yo.
bro.
But any games with are you playing with like your brothers? Obviously, I think I imagine
Yeah.
everyone's trying to hog the console, right?
In the beginning, it was hell because it's like my mom actually is the one who got me into gaming. Believe it or not,
Really?
my first game I played with her was GTA San Andreas. When you get
Your mom's a GTA player?
yes, bro.
Yo, your mom's legit.
Yes, bro.
Your
yes.
mom's what's up? What? That's awesome.
So she had the PlayStation 2. She had I don't know. I think it was a PlayStation 2 Slim
Right.
or something like that. And I remember walking into the room and I seen her. I'm like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? And she's like, do you want to play? I'm like, yeah. Okay. So I get the controller and we're like 2 players in San Andreas and we're like popping at people. I'm like, this is fun. You know what I'm saying?
that's that's amazing. I mean, like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, bro.
Wow, that's an experience.
Mm.
So, I imagine obviously you explaining like, look, it's not the best situation going on with your father and your mother, right? They're kind of clashing every once in a while, but it seems like you and your brothers tend to have a good relationship with your mother and your father separately, in the connections you have. Was there any kind of trials and tribulations there, or was it always feeling pretty wholesome?
Well, okay. So this is where growing up, it was okay.
Okay.
Up until about, I would say, 10th grade.
Mm.
Like, okay, so my mom had left the house at one point.
Mm.
So, and we were still cool with my mom because she would still come see us. And sometimes we spend night at her, with her and her sister because her sister is where she was staying. And everything was cool. Then about 10th grade, like, she started having mental problems.
Mm.
So mental problems as in like, and I thought she was faking it.
Mm.
You know, I'm a kid. I'm like, there's no way you can be doing this. So she would actually like start speaking to herself in front of my dad. And then, you know, my dad's like, I'm like, why is she faking it? My dad's like, don't say that. Like, she's not faking it. And I'm getting mad. I'm very upset because I'm like, Mom, like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? If you want to, I'm thinking that she's doing it for my dad's attention. And I'm like, you know, if she wants to get his attention, she just has to, you know, be nice to him. Because this is all I know. All I know is that, you know, coming up, it was clashes. I thought my mom was ignorant. But these are like the negative thoughts that I'm having because of the clashing. But I still loved her because she was my mom.
Of course.
But, you know, and once she actually started having the mental health problems, it kind of went downhill with our relationship. And then I remember having a talk with my dad, like, what is wrong with her? And he's like, well, I don't know. But make sure that you never, you know, forget that that's your mom. Because, I mean, like, we would have full-blown arguments. My bad. We would have full-blown arguments while she was, like, you know, under mental stress. And I'm thinking that this is just her, you know, giving me hate. But it's really just her having mental problems. And when I think back about that, I'm like, dang, I was dumb. You know what I'm saying?
But you were young, man.
I was young.
You were young.
Indeed.
Like 10 years on this planet, okay? This billions of years, you know, these things, you know. So just to kind of just, you know, hold that over yourself, I don't think that's the type of, you know, I don't think you should put weight on that. But I imagine that must have been hard. How was it for your? I know your brother has autism as well, and how was it for them? Were they hopefully having a good? Were they experiencing similar?
I have never really asked him this question, but my youngest brother is 14 now.
Okay.
My brother has autism. I don't think he really remembers that well. And then the second oldest, I don't think he's very traumatized by it because they weren't really receptive to the situation at the moment. So, I mean, for me, I was like, dang, this is crazy. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? Like, I would never think that this type of stuff can happen to us. Like, let alone, the situation between my mom and dad splitting up. When that happened, my world was, in a shock. I'm like, dang.
Mm.
Like, my dad preached family, and now all of a sudden you guys are not even together.
Mm.
And that was hard. That was hard. Yeah.
What made that hard?
Um, just seeing my mom and my dad like have different relationships. So my dad used to preach to me like, when you get a girl, if you get married, stay with her. Don't leave her. If you have kids, don't leave her. You know what I'm saying? Like, big on being a good dude, good husband, good father. So just seeing them like break up, it was like, but you said, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
as a kid,
Right.
you're like, what your parents say is law.
Right.
So when they go back on their word, you're like, but you said this and you
Right.
said that. So I kind of had like stigmatism for both of them. Like, oh my, like this is too much. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And then when I see them get into, like I said, when I see them get into different relationships,
Mm.
it was so weird for me.
How often did you get to see them? Was it kind of like you stay with your father or you stay with your brother and you got to, or was it kind of 50-50 type of thing?
My mom was always like coming around.
Mm.
I stayed with my dad because he was a breadwinner.
Sure.
So my mom would come around at least once a week, and sometimes we wouldn't see her 4 weeks. Like, we would leave, she would leave, and I wouldn't see her for a month. So yeah, it was kind of weird. I don't know. Like, as far as like,
My parents were separated, and I could understand kind of the differences of like being one, but I was the only child, so it made a lot, I guess, more very different, you know.
mhm,
But I could definitely see the kind of separation and not having kind of that family dynamic anymore. Is
mhm.
this where you kind of started leaning more towards like your cousins and like your extended family, or you may hanging out with friends, or just being more dived into the video games? Like, what was kind of the escape there?
The escapism was the video game,
Mm.
the movies, and YouTube was coming up.
Oh yeah,
So I started to watch a lot of YouTubers and stuff like that. And like I said, my dad was a breadwinner. So my dad wasn't there to sit down
of
with
course.
me all day. My brothers are young. We don't have the language to, talk to each other like, how do
Right.
you feel about this? You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
it's really just me, my video games, and my laptop. You know what I'm saying? And I go to school, and even then I'm in an environment where it's not the best environment,
Mm.
because kids can be assholes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Keep it a buck.
Kids can be assholes. So I'm like, it's just really like a lot. That's why when I always look back, like you say, like it's good to look back. When I look back, I'm like, dang, like this really shaped me to be a certain type of person.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And I always have to self correct. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
hmm
Um, high school,
High school.
different time now.
Yep.
I obviously you're kind of growing into a man, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where you get to kind of separate yourself from everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? What was that kind of dynamic like? Any girls in your life? Or is there any relationships? Or were you, father kept you close. He was like, hey, if you meet some girl, you better, hey, you have a kid, you gotta be with her. Okay, you better make sure you're straight.
Oh my lord. So high school, bruh. So crazy thing. 9th grade year.
Hmm.
My dad actually goes to jail.
Oh,
He goes to jail. He's not gone for a long time, but he goes to jail, and we had a house in the 30s, which is an area. We had a house in the 30s, so 9th grade year was tough.
yeah.
So, I mean, like, we're struggling. My uncle, a great man too, shout out to him. My uncle is helping us to at least have food in the house, because my stepmother, she doesn't have a job. She lives with my dad. She was young, you know what I'm saying? So it was really hard. I mean, I'm talking, I got the same 5 pair of clothes I'm wearing every week for like 3 months. And it was hard for me because people didn't care. So, like, as you grow up in LA, there's like, you are either one of them, like you're a guy, or you're not a guy, and there's no caring about the separation. You know what
Sure.
I'm saying?
No, I agree with you.
So I'm poor. I'm not fly, but I'm still a good person.
Mm.
So I still have a group of friends, but I do get put down a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As a ninth grader, you know what I'm saying? And that doesn't help that I was overweight.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it was hard, but
Is that still locked in on studies? You're still getting through, like, I
no,
imagine, yeah.
no.
I imagine.
Ninth grade, once my dad, went to jail and everything was happening, that's when I sort of got into like this fog. Like when I think about it, it's like almost like I went into autopilot.
Mm.
So I'm going to school. I don't really care about school right now.
Mm.
I'm thinking about my dad. I go home. There's no food. I used to steal out of stores to get food sometime for the fam. So it's not an environment where school is of the utmost importance. And on top of that, I go to a school where it's a different culture now. It's not Asians and Caucasians where everybody's like, oh yeah, we're competing to be the best people in school. No, we're competing to get money.
Yeah.
People are competing to have the nice clothes. The girls, like you said,
Yeah.
it's no longer a place where you need to be smart. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to fit in as hard as I can. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I started to do.
Try to make the experience as survivable as possible.
Right, bro. Right.
So, and so since you're like the older brother, you're kind of stepping into definitely early into this kind of manhood role. You try to, like kind of the saying goes, right? Rob Peter to pay Paul, like trying to take care of the boys, but it's hard. You try to take care of yourself as well, to kind of get through this time. Were you still in sports, hopefully? Was that kind of a good outlet, the frustration?
Trying, bro, but the grades wasn't there.
They
So I didn't really
do it.
start playing football in high school until I was in the 10th grade. And to be honest, I've been growing since I was 12. If you want to be real,
Okay, hey.
I've been growing since I was 12. Like, I used to take care of my brothers. Like, there was time when we were staying in a hotel, and my dad would be like, look, I got to go work so we can get money. Make sure your brothers are straight. If you got to go get food, walk here. So I'm 12 going to buy food from 7-Eleven pieces. We surviving off of food for less chicken. You know what I'm saying? So,
I get you. You cooking too? Slapping it up over here?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
So we going in, you know what I'm saying?
Chef
So-
Boy RD over here. Let's get it. We have to.
Oh, Lord, man. Yeah. It was crazy, bro. It was crazy. When we talk about being grown, I mean, like, dude. And people, like, we don't struggle battle, but I know what my upbringing was pretty tough.
Sure.
It was tough, bro.
You said you have friends around this time.
I do.
No real person to lean on? Anyone to kind of relate with?
Well,
'Cause I know you can't really confide into your brothers like that.
my friends at school were the people that I kept close to me
Right.
were awesome.
Okay.
Like, they were very cool people. You still had, like, your moments where you rag on people.
Of course, it's roasting sessions.
And then, like, I'd be like, but I'm not, like, emotionally intelligent to where I'm like, this is just a playful moment.
Okay.
So sometimes I'm like, damn, you're supposed to be my friend, but you're saying that type of stuff. But then it's like, okay, this is the environment we in. This is how they play. Like I said, now that I think back at it. But before, it was tough. But I had a couple friends, people that were into the stuff that I was into, so it made it easy.
Gaming and stuff?
Gaming.
Okay. So you're going through 10th grade, you're hitting through 11th grade. I hope you said your father was in for that long. Hopefully, is the stability back?
He's
Okay,
home.
good.
So he's home by like towards the end of 9th grade year. So, he went to trial and beat his case. So he's good. So he's home. And then he's home. Yeah. So
That's good. All right, cool. And as you're kind of going through high school, hopefully going through that kind of journey as well. It seems like now, I think at this point, you're kind of trying to get ready to, like, what do you want to do, That's not that long ago, right? You're talking about maybe 4 years, 5 years ago?
yeah, like I graduated 4 years ago. For me, it was really just sports, bro. Unfortunately, my dad always said, if you want to do something, do it.
Sure.
So he was supportive of whatever I chose to do. So I was a big football person. I was in sports. My first year playing, I was starting on varsity. So I enjoyed playing football a lot. But there was no thoughts of like I want to be a what? I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Sure.
I wanted to be a doctor, but like I said, when you're growing up and you have to deal with your circumstances,
Sure.
my mind has left those things. I'm like, I'm in sports, so this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm not really thinking about, okay, well, if I do this, then I might be able to be a doctor. If I do this, like I've learned so much stuff in the past like 4 years since I've graduated high school that now I know that there's more opportunities opposed to just basic things.
No
like
teachers
sports.
were like trying to prep you and get you prepared for like this next part of life here.
Yeah, I wish, bro, but like
So many students probably.
so many students, and my family was a very like in keep it in the house family. So I never went to a teacher who was like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. I'm more like I'm waiting for my dad to get home so he can guide me. But actually, by the time I turned 16 is when my dad got sick. So after that, it's like I'm really just going through the motions. You know what I'm saying? I have no one to talk to because at school it's like, you have to be a man. If you don't,
You can't show weakness.
if you don't hold your problems to yourself, then you're weak. I wish I would have somebody to say, dude, you don't have to hold your problems. Because now that I think about it, had there been someone to come to me to say, you don't have to hold your problems, I probably would have been something other than what I am doing right now. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, yeah, it was a lot. Man. It was crazy.
So I imagine
Crazy,
it sounds
bro.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets back and he gets sick. That's yeah. Mom's hopefully helping. I know you said you mentioned you have a stepmother as well.
My stepmother, so when my dad went to jail, my stepmother, when he came home, which I appreciate her for staying,
Sure.
but as soon as he got home, she left. They were no longer together. My dad, we are struggling. We get a tiny little 1-bedroom place off of King and Western. There's like a little dirty little hut right between a church and a laundromat. We get a place there, and my mom comes back into the picture. But like I said, she has mental problems.
Sure.
And they have gotten worse at this time. So, so my dad was he was African, right? So, he was very spiritual, but he also believed in God. So he held these two traditional and religious things together. So my dad is sick. In my mind, unfortunately, I'm thinking like there's nothing wrong with him. My dad told me, like words to me, I'm not gonna die until you get old. That's what he told me. So, and I'm seeing him getting sick. Like, I'm thinking he's having nightmares, like in the middle of the night, but he's really having seizures. When my uncle told me, I'm like, that's crazy. So my dad was sick for about a week and a half, and I'm still going to football practice. I'm still doing these things. We're still surviving. And then I come home, and my dad's not there. So I'm like, what happened? My uncle calls me. He's like, yeah, I had to take your dad to the hospital. I'm like, for what? You know what I'm saying? My dad, he doesn't go to the hospital. Only thing my dad has ever been sick with for my entire life was a cold. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's crazy. Like, even when the whole house had the flu, my dad didn't catch the flu and he took care of us. So I'm like, there's no way my dad, there's something wrong. And so he's like, yeah, I'll let you know. And I'm home and I'm with my brothers and we're on the PlayStation. He comes in the house. He takes me outside. He walks me outside. He said, yeah, they told me that your dad has a tumor in his brain and it's malignant. I'm like, what does that mean? It's like, basically your dad has cancer. So I'm like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Really tough situation to be in.
Hey, what year is this? Oh, sorry, not year. What grade were you in?
I'm 16, so I think I'm in the 10th grade. Yeah, like,
Yo, I didn't think it was that quick. I thought you had like some time to at least like try to like, get some stability, just like catch your feet.
no, it was back to back to back. And it sucked. Like I said, it sucked, bro. Like, 8th grade year, we finally catch a break and get a house. Because from 6th grade to 8th grade year, we're in motels.
Right.
I'm like, but we still like family, so it's okay. You know what I'm saying? We have a shower, we have clothes, we have food. After 8th grade year, 9th grade comes, my dad goes to jail. I'm like, damn, we just got a house.
Yeah.
This is crazy. 9th grade year, he comes back at the end. We lose the house. Yeah. We're back in motels. 10th grade year, we get a place, a small little dirty place, but appreciative. Of course, I'm a kid.
Sure.
We get the place, and he gets sick. So at this point, I'm like, this is like a horror story to me.
Sure.
I'm like, this is totally different from what I envisioned our life to be. Because like I said before, my dad had money, and he'd make sure that we were straight. So when all of this is going on, I'm like, damn, like, am I being punished for something or something? This is me. I said I'm a religious person, so I'm asking God, like, did I do something wrong to deserve this? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was rough, bro.
You're I mean, it must be very hard to try to manage your football, manage yourself. You don't really confide to your teachers, but you do seem like you have this consistent uncle. How's your kind of relationship with him at this point? After
Um, well, my uncle has his own family, so he can't really do too much.
Sure.
But he's still trying to be supportive. He's telling me go to football practice. He's providing for us financially. So, but in our culture, it's not normal to say I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm anxious. So I still don't have an outlet to talk to someone. And I'm talking like I'm going to school and I just feel like empty, bro. I'm walking to school every morning. And then one time I got injured. So now I'm hobbling to school on crutches. And I remember, bro, I was about to break down. I almost fell in an intersection. And this lady stopped. She said, get in my car. I'm like, I don't even know you. You know what I'm saying? She's like, no, I'm taking you to school. She seen me with my backpack. So, yeah, and it was just tough, bro. Like I said, looking back, I was distraught.
No one knew any of this was going on?
No one talks to me because I don't say anything. So, I mean,
dude, you're strong, man. like the strength to have to be able to go and to endure, right? You're to persevere and still just keep on like the survivor type of mentality that you are that you're built with. I could not imagine at 10th grade something like that being the perspective. Man, that's yeah, man, that must have been really hard. Did the world get better in 11th grade?
Hell no. When my dad got back from the hospital, so this is after his first surgery. Like I said, we were living with my mother. So we were living with my mom at the time. But she had mental health disorder.
Sure.
So apparently someone calls DCFS. Yes. So they called DCFS and they're like, yeah, we know what's going on. They come in the house and the dude doesn't take more than 5 minutes looking in the house and he's like, okay, we need to go. And my dad, and this is like, I was like, I don't know why I didn't cry at the time, but I'm like, again, that's all I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, again, I'm looking at my dad on the bed, post-op, right? He has a big cut on the side of his head. His head is shaven. He's still trying to get oriented. You know what I'm saying? And he's watching as we walk out the door of DCFS. And I'm just like, I'm in the car, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, this isn't real. You know what I'm saying? It feels like you're living in a movie. I'm like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? And we get to the place, and I'm like, I asked the lady, I'm like, why did you take us from my family? Like, why you take us from my dad? And she's like, I don't have any answers for you right now. We're going to take you guys to your, group homes. I'm like, group homes? So why, we're going to be together? She's like, no, we have to take you guys separately places because you guys are different ages. I'm like, what? Like I said, at this time, all I know is family. So it's like, you're taking me away from my brothers? And I'm tripping. I'm in there tripping like what are y'all doing this for? Like, my dad didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? I understand, when DCFS comes to an abusive home, when DCFS comes to a neglectful home. My mother had problems, but she wasn't neglectful. And in all her, mental health, she still fed us. She washed our clothes. She made sure we get to school. She didn't have a car, but she used to walk my two little brothers to school. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this is a crazy world, you know what I'm saying, where you would take someone from a family that actually cares about them, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's where I grew like my hatred to authority. So I started like disliking police officers. I'm like, okay, I don't, I'm not disrespectful, but I also don't respect you. You know what I'm saying? So,
It's hard to, in this, and yeah,
yeah, bro.
when that happens, they put you in, they put your brothers and you in a group. Do you have a cell phone?
I do.
Okay, no, like,
Oh yeah, I have a cell
okay,
phone going. And at this time, I actually got my first girlfriend. So she was in L.A. I was in San Fernando Valley, and shout out to her because she was a really good person. She was really like, it's gonna be okay, like and she was like my rock at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So she was calling me every day, like, oh, do you need anything? Like,
and where were you? Like, are you just in this random place with just a bunch of other dudes? Like, hey, what's up, guys? Like, what? Are you, like, what's that? Like, what? Like, I'm not sure how that process works, but
I'm in San Fernando Valley. I don't remember the name of the group home, but it was a pretty clean place. It wasn't like any
Okay.
problems for me or anything like that. Um, Granada Hills is the
but that's
specific area.
that's good though. But you still can communicate to your family, right?
Not my brothers. Um, I still talk to my dad. I was talking to my dad almost every day. You know what I'm saying? But like unfortunately, like me being away from home, I started to see a different life. So I'm like, we were struggling. I'm not struggling here. So I started to like it. I'm not gonna lie. I started to like it.
Yeah, I
So,
imagine so.
and like one thing that my dad was mad at me for is like if I ever missed a day to call him, because you gotta think, like I said, he's post-op surgery. I know in his head he's like,
idle. He can't do anything. Yeah,
in his head he's like, I can go any day. Why aren't you calling me? But back then I'm not thinking like that. Now I understand. But back then I'm like, like we're gonna be together again. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, weird, different environment. Not weird. It was a different environment from LA, like totally. But it's still like, to be honest, I'm not even outside of the group home. I'm not really paying attention to what's going on because I'm really just thinking about like, okay, when am I going home? You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
How long were you there?
I think I was there for like half a year.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it was like some time, 6 months.
It was half a year, but half a year, and then I moved in with one of my friends. So I moved in with one of my friends before my dad got us back. So at this time, I started going to Granada Hills High School, and then but I didn't like it, and I was on the phone with my social worker all the time, like, I need visitation. I need to go home. You know what I'm saying? So I end up starting to get what is that called? Like, you get day passes. I would go see my dad. I would go back to LA, and I even, no cap, I was going to Dorsey High School from Granada Hills every day. So I'm up at 5 a.m. because the environment was too different for me. I should have went to Granada Hills High School. Now I think about it.
Sure.
But I'm like, I don't want to be here. So it's weird to me.
You're thinking that you're gonna be getting out soon anyway, so you're probably thinking like, you won't not have to swap schools again. I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm chilling on that. So I'm getting on the bus at 5 in the morning, and everybody asking me like why didn't you just stay over there? I'm like, because I didn't want to. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird over there. Yeah, I was making that sacrifice, but they were like, the group home was providing me with bus tokens and stuff like that because they wanted to make it as comfortable as possible. So it was cool.
But you went through all this and still graduated?
Oh yeah, bro. I had to graduate. There was no option.
Like whoa.
My father passed before I graduated. Yes, my father passed away before I graduated. Like, literally,
He didn't get to see you graduate.
no, he passed away 6 months before I graduated. So I'm 17.
Please tell me you're at least back home.
No, yeah. I was actually like 12th grade year we moved because my dad had got sick again. After we got back from the group homes, right? We're in an apartment right next to Dorsey, which is pretty good. So I don't have to go too far. My brothers catch the bus up the street to Audubon. Um, and then my little brother, I think it's called Olympic Elementary School. My youngest brother, and my autistic brother, they had a program there for special education students. Um, so we get back and everything is smooth. Like it's basically back to normal.
Back to normal.
You know what I'm saying? Um, my dad is. We celebrate Christmas together. My dad gets us the PS4. I'm geeked. You know what I'm saying? At this time, 2K17 was out, so I'm up all night playing the game. Of course, sharing with my brothers. And then I remember, like I can remember to this day. So my dad would always send me to Ralph's. Ralph's was about 5 to 6 minute walk away from the house. And he would always list off the things to buy, and I'm writing them down. I don't have an iPhone or anything at the time.
Sure.
But
yeah,
it's cool. So I'm writing them down. And then one day, so my dad, my uncle always told me, make sure your dad doesn't have any seizures. And if he starts forgetting things, make sure you call me. So I'm sitting there, and I'm writing stuff down. And my dad's like, get some chicken, get some bell peppers, and what's that green thing? I'm like, what's that green? And I'm seeing him, and I'm like, are you talking about cabbage? He's like, yeah, cabbage. And the other thing, and I'm like, no. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? So I call my uncle. I'm like, yeah, he's starting to be forgetful. So apparently one day when I was at school, my uncle came to see my dad, and they were having a conversation, right? And then he had a seizure that same day. So my dad goes back into the hospital, and I believe this is his second surgery, but this is brain surgery. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like to this day, my uncle would tell me like, oh, like your dad would always say like, if it was arm, he's giving away his arm so he can be all right. You know what I'm saying? But it's brain surgery. So they're taking pieces of him every time he goes back to the hospital. So he goes back in, and at this time, I'm back to taking care of my brothers because my uncle lives all the way in Pasadena. He has his own family in Pasadena. My dad had a friend named Billy, who's a great family friend. He would spend some nights with us, but he can't because he has his own stuff.
Right.
So for about a period of like a month and a half, 2 months, I'm taking care of my brothers by myself. Got to keep the house clean.
Yeah.
Got to wash the clothes. Got to make sure everybody gets to school. Fortunately, my brother was smart enough to take the bus by himself, and my other two brothers went to school no more than 15 minutes walking distance. But I'm taking care of my brothers again. And
my mom is your mom is
not around. So, because after we went into DCFS, they said she can't be around. She's not mentally stable. So, all this is happening.
That's just like, that's just not like, that's just crazy that she can't be around her own children. Like, I get it. I mean, I get it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't want to intrude.
It's okay. Like, shoot.
That's rough.
Yeah. Still love her to this day. I just see
man.
my mom maybe not too long ago. She's doing very good. So, yeah, like I'm back to taking care of my brothers.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm over it. I never told my uncle this because if I did, I'd probably be dead.
Sure.
But I'm ditching school. I'm staying home. I'm with my girlfriend because she's still around. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, basically, I'm falling into the stereotypes. I'm gambling at school. I'm going to the movies. You know what I'm saying? I was a chip seller, so I had money of my own.
Sure.
So I'm buying stuff that I don't need, shoes, and I'm just falling out of love with the whole idea that things are gonna get better.
Mm.
I'm like, I'm just gonna have fun at this point.
YOLO.
Yeah, I'm gonna have fun at this point.
Mm.
And that's how I was living, and my dad finally came home, but this time it was different. He wasn't talking to me. I'm like, why isn't my dad talking to me? He barely can function. My aunt has to move in and take care of my dad. So my dad is basically bedridden. And I'm like, this is this isn't real. You know what I'm saying? One thing my dad even was able to do, um, as he was bedridden. So as I was a kid, my dad would always grab my rose. This is funny. My dad would grab my rose and like to be playful. You know what I'm saying? So I'm holding my dad up while we're changing him, right?
Mm.
And he starts laughing and he grabs my rose. I'm like, what? It let me know that he was still here, bro. It's crazy, bro. It's really crazy. Yeah, he was still here, bro. It's crazy.
Man, that's rough, man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it was crazy.
Um, so 6 months, a few months before you graduate, man.
Yeah.
Um, man, I imagine that must have been like a huge accomplishment, man. Like just
Yeah, bro. I mean, uh, I remember getting home from graduation and just like going to the restroom and I cried my eyes out.
mm,
I was like, I'm seeing everybody with their families, and I'm like, damn, I knew that if my dad was here, we'd have a party right now.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because my dad always talked about, like, oh, like graduation. These are milestones. Like, when you have graduation,
yeah,
we're turned. You know what I'm saying? When you have your first kid, it's gonna be a party. So I don't get these opportunities to share with him. So I'm like, damn. Like my friends have all their cousins and aunts, and my family is not close anymore.
right.
So my aunt was there. Her name is Virgin. They call her Virginia, but her real name is Virginie. But she's there. My autistic brother is there. Um, and we go to Chinese Express, and I celebrate my graduation with my friends too. So I mean that was cool, but
Yeah.
I just know it's not the same as if I would have had my family there. You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy, man. It was crazy.
Um. So so you graduate and I imagine at this point you're like, what does life have in store? The last 4 years of your life was like a roller coaster.
It was too much, bro. I mean, like I said, I've been going with the motions this whole time. By the grace of God, my uncle was there for us through the whole time.
Yeah.
So he's like, "All right, you're done with high school. There's no more LA culture. I'm in Arcadia, California." So I graduate and I enroll the same summer. I'm in PCC, Pasadena City College, and I take a history class, and I just remember like just being so like having so much anxiety
Mm.
because these are people predominantly Asian, Hispanic, and a sprinkle of black people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now I think it's more black people that go to PCC, but when I first started, it was predominantly Asian and Caucasian, Hispanic people.
So that made it a pretty daunting experience trying to walk into, you know.
Yeah, bro.
And you're a football player, you know, and are you with your uncle now at this point?
Yeah, we're living. Yeah, so hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
As I was graduating, since my father was sick, we moved in with my uncle. So my dad was living in a hospice, and we were living with my uncle as I was going to school to Dorsey from Arcadia. once again, because I didn't want to go to Arcadia High School.
Yeah.
So I ended up graduating from Dorsey. Yeah, but we're living with my dad. We're living with my uncle at the time.
Right.
Yeah, and when I started college, I was with my uncle.
You mentioned in these next 4 years, because you said one thing I think is interesting is that when I asked you at the very beginning of, like, you know, your father's from Cameroon and what type of, like, personalities you have, you were like, dude, he's like the party starter, he gets things going, he's super amount of energy.
Yeah.
And he kind of bring that life into, you know, to people. And you said you missed that when you got into kind of like when you graduated high school. My question for you is, now that you said this last 4 years, you're able to kind of learn something of like the importance of because you don't appreciate something until it's gone, right? And that's just the truth of the matter. And now that you kind of like gone, now you've had that last 4 years, then the next 4, what is that kind of what is that chapter kind of like? Is this?
Well, this is like the discovery, if you want to say.
Sure.
I'm so used to living in this shell of like, damn, what's going on?
Right.
And now it's like, I have a better situation. I live in Arcadia, California. My uncle, it's a tight fit because my uncle has 4 kids of his own. He has a wife, and then it's 4 of us. So we're in I believe it's a 2-bedroom place, and we're, you know, on bunk beds. You see, I'm a tall dude.
Yeah.
I'm on bunk beds with my little brother, and then on the top is my other cousins, and, you know, but honestly, these past 4 years are probably like, no, I'm not gonna lie, like, it's been a good time because I've been able to actually take a deep breath. You know what I'm saying? Granted, I've made mistakes,
Of course,
in these past 4 years, but I also feel like I've been able to become myself. So, you know, things that I actually like to do. Like, I like watching anime.
Yeah.
Growing up as a kid, you're supposed to be into rap music and girls. I like playing video games and watching anime. So, you know, this is a place where I find friends. I started playing basketball. And I kind of like grew a different person, like on the side and like on my hip. But I, like, as I get older, like, I'm breaking these bad tendencies like I have. Like, I was a very anxious person. I was, like, depressed a lot. Only because, like, you know, I don't know. I started feeling like I couldn't be who I really wanted to be. But that's only because I still have this. I grew up in LA, so it's like, can I really be myself without you judging me? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so I'm just shortly, you know, gaining more friends. I started to do videos.
Yeah, dude. Content is so good.
I started to do videos, and when I first started, it was actually with my good friend. His name is Kalen. So, prior to me getting into like collaborative videos with Kalen, I was just making stupid skits.
Yeah.
Like, I did my first couple videos, like, I was singing in the shower.
Yeah.
Right? And like, and then I did like some skits where I'm trying to think. This is a minute ago, right? So I did some skits where, like, I did the coronavirus thing, like, where it's like, oh, like, I got the coronavirus from drinking a Corona. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing little silly things like that. So then I meet Kalen, and he's like, Kalen is such a big dreamer, bro. And he's like, dude, you are funny. Let's make content. So I'm like, okay, you know, because I don't have myself, like, who I am, but I know what I like to do.
Sure.
So let's do this. So at that time, I had tried out for the PC basketball team, and I was redshirting. And I was like, okay, I can go to this practice, or I can go film these videos.
Right.
And I got such an enjoyment out of filming these videos. We also had one more person, Michael. I call him Billy, right?
Right.
Because this is our like joke. We like to do country accents, and he calls me Billy. I call him Billy. Good friends, you know, and we're doing pranks in stores. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I feel alive. You know what I'm saying? But the downside to that is, like, I still don't care about school, bro.
Sure.
So I'm going to school, and I still get the grades to pass. I get B's and C's, but I'm not really focused on trying to have a career. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to focus on doing stuff that makes me feel good,
Sure.
which was basketball, and filming content. Yeah, it was fun, bro. That in the beginning, it was very like, oh my god, like, you get such an adrenaline rush out of doing pranks, and these are like raw pranks. I'm talking about like we're going into stores and pretending to have heart attacks, and people are like, "What's wrong with you guys?" But it's so much fun.
Sure.
I think at this time I was like 19.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, it was pretty cool, bro.
Kind of looking back at your life, kind of where you're at now.
Mhm.
You're still knocking out some content, and your stuff is good. I'm seeing your stuff getting 30,000, 40, 50,000, almost 200,000 views. I'm like, you're doing it's cool that you're getting into this world, and
Mhm.
and it's just getting kind of started for you. You didn't let something defeat you. You kind of like persevered from that.
Mhm.
Yeah, kind of looking back at your life this last 22 years,
Mm.
you know. How do you kind of feel about that? Like, where do you kind of stand with that? How do you sit with that?
To be honest, um, I actually stopped doing videos for like almost like 2 weeks, but it was like a fast, right? I was
Sure.
fasting from social media, but because my content had become a part of my identity, as
Mm.
opposed to this just being something that I do for fun, right?
Mm.
And I always told myself like you should never do it for validation, basically.
Mm.
And that's what it became. So as you said, like the videos are getting a lot of views, but that's all that's on my mind. I'm
Mhm.
like, when I post this has to do it. When I post this has to do it. And Armani, he's like, it's okay. Like everything can't, be 100,000 views,
Sure.
right? So yeah, so I'm like, now me understanding like, okay, we're gonna do this, but we have to let it mature. You know
Sure.
what I'm saying? Like let it blossom as you plant your seeds,
Yeah.
the fruit will come. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I really do still enjoy making videos, but I'm just like letting it be as it
Mm.
comes. You know what I'm saying? But it does feel good to see 30,000 views. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. And people actually like it's funny because I never think about now I never think about my videos like, oh, like people know me for my videos. Every time I see someone, they're like, yeah, bro, I be seeing that shit
Yeah.
funny.
It's
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
It's fun, bro. It's fun, bro.
That's cool.
Mm.
So what's the kind of future look like for you?
Future. So
You mentioned that a big thing about you was having some anxiety, and you had to deal with that.
oh man, yeah.
So I imagine that it's hard to look towards the future, kind of seeing the life that you kind of have.
Mm,
Um,
so
but yeah, what's the dream? What are you fighting for? What do you want out of life?
so
What's the goal?
future. That was one of the biggest things that gave me like a headache. Like,
Mm.
what am I gonna do? You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? But as I met Armani, and I met another girl. We're not together or anything, but I met another girl. This is when like religion comes back into my life
Mm.
because as my dad passed away, I had like a hate relationship between me and God. This is
Mm.
true. Like I'm like, you took my dad, bro. Like, what do you want me to do?
Mm.
So I meet this girl, and she puts this movie on. I think it's called The Shack,
Mm.
right? And basically, a man loses his daughter to a serial killer. Goes through this whole like walk, and then he understands like, God doesn't do bad to you. Sometimes things happen.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But it's still love. And I finally start getting back into my Bible, and now like the level of calm is way different, bro. When I lean on God to like stand, as my rock,
Mm.
because I like people in general, like we all need someone to lean on,
Right.
whether it's a friend, whether it's like some people unfortunately lean on drugs.
Sure.
We need something to lean on. So I'm really leaning on God right now, and I feel like the content is gonna be there. I feel like as I progress in my school, because now I'm looking forward to actually applying to nursing school.
Let's go.
Yeah, so I'm really just taking it a step at a time. If I'm not gonna lie, if content becomes the main thing, I'm gonna stop going to school. But Other than that, I'll be walking through this stuff, man. I'll be walking through it.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, I'm excited. I hearing your story and kind of like really inspired me, man. It's I'm like I'm so motivated. I'm hoping the chat is too, and it's cool to kind of just see someone persevere the way you have, and it's cool to see like the putting yourself out there and still trying to find a way to find your community and the people that you've interacted with, and now you're closer to God. It's kind of cool to see that whole dynamic kind of come together.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing, man. It's
Thank
cool.
you, bro. I appreciate it.
So we have a final segment that we do.
Okay.
This is called I don't think any last things. I don't know if we forgot about anyone. Did we forget about anyone, or you think you touched on your life pretty well?
Shout out to my friends for being good friends. They have really allowed me to be myself. If you are watching and you feel like you have nobody, find a group of people that really support your dreams. Because no matter what I say, I can say I want to be an astronaut. My friends are going to be like, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to them, man. That's all.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bet. So we got this thing.
Okay.
We're going to ask we call them deep questions, right?
Sure.
And these questions very thought-provoking, right?
All right.
And so sometimes they can be really close, but I think it's sometimes really, really cool to kind of see the way how you would answer a question. This is a goal for me to learn a little more about you.
Okay.
And yeah, it's kind of fun. It's something fun to do.
That's cool.
So, all right, let's do it. Okay, so it's an interesting question, but what's a mistake, right, you've made that affected your life for the better?
Damn. Like that, a mistake that I've made
that affected your life for the better.
I crashed my car at 19 years old.
Whoa.
I crashed my car at 19 years old. This made me sit down. So at this time, I am with a Hispanic girl. So she lives in Mexico, right?
Yo.
So but originally, originally she's out here. She moves to Mexico, and I'm like, this is my baby. I'm not gonna stop seeing you. So, damn, I was so just okay. So I'm
starstruck.
I'm driving an hour to meet halfway because she can cross the border. So we're meeting halfway. But I remember I went to go see her one day, right? But it's pouring raining, bro. And I didn't get my first car till I turned 19. So this is my first car. So I'm like, I'm going to get there. I got there. We kicked it. We had a great time. On the way home, it's an hour drive. I get a call from my aunt, right? So she's like, look, Uncle Bert is asking about you. That's my uncle's name, Uncle Bert. And when you hear that, you're like, oh, it's time to go. So I'm driving and I'm speeding in the pouring rain. I'm smart. I'm not slow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that you're not supposed to drive fast in the rain, but I don't understand why you can't drive fast in the rain. So I'm speeding. I'm not going to say how fast I was going, but I was doing an unreasonable speed. And I hydroplaned.
Yeah.
And I hit the divider. I spin back into traffic. I got hit by a semi-truck. As I'm hit by the semi-truck, I'm trying to get out the car. And this was actually a day after the anniversary for my father's passing. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way I'm about to die, right? But I know it's traumatic. Like, I can laugh about it now.
Sure.
Because this is a minute ago. But in the moment, and when I finally got out the car, I'm just like, oh, yeah, I'm screwed. Like, I just crashed my car. I'm way in San Isidro. And, once my uncle finds out, it's over. I don't call my uncle. I call my girlfriend. I'm like, please come get me. You know what I'm saying? But that experience made me, again, take a deep breath. Because, like I said, I didn't really care about school. I cared about doing what I liked. But it made me say, you know what? Maybe what I like doing what I like all the time isn't the responsible thing. So it made me sharpen up, and finally say, okay, we're not gonna put all our eggs into the enjoyment. We're
Sure.
gonna put some eggs into responsibility. So yeah, almost.
Great answer. Great answer. Golly, I can't believe I'm gonna ask you this question, but
Oh Lord.
it's the heart of the cards, right?
Come on, man, let's get it.
Yu-Gi-Oh here.
Let's get it.
If you had 3 years left to live,
Oh shoot.
what would you be doing differently?
Man, what would I be doing differently? That is a great question. I would spend my time. Of course, my family be there. Um, this is a great question.
Yeah, man.
My family would be there. I probably want to get into like mentorship,
Mm,
so I can tell people like, look, this is the reality of life.
mm,
I understand that you might not have the best circumstance, but there's always a way out.
mm.
Because, like I said, if I would have had somebody to come and tell me there's a way out, I would have done a lot of things differently.
See,
You know what I mean?
some people are trying to be very selfish.
Right.
But your answer is so giving. Your answer is like, yeah, no, I want to help others.
Bro.
With 3 years left to live,
I mean, like, what's the saying, bro? Like, once you go, you're gone. What are you leaving behind? Are you leaving behind a legacy? You know, I probably wouldn't want to have a kid because then he won't grow with a
Sure,
dad. You know what I'm saying? So I would want to instill any knowledge I have into anyone that I can. Of course, I'm going to have fun, but I want the 3 years to be meaningful. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, mentorship. I actually had an opportunity to do mentorship. If it wasn't too far, I would have done it. But yeah, I would definitely do mentorship, have good times with my family. You know, that's all I can do, brother.
Respect. They're back to back, man. They're back to back. If you could go back and change one thing, what would it be and why?
Dang. Man, look. I would like to say like I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason,
Sure.
which is the truth. But to be honest, if I would have done anything different, it would have been to be so invested in a relationship. So when I was with that girl, I was very like tied in. Like, there's nothing you can tell me about her. There's nothing you can do. And I knew it was like a codependent thing because I was always depressed. She was beautiful. I finally get a beautiful girl, and I'm like, this is it. I'm here. I'm in it to win it. But now that I look back at it, I wasted a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? And I never understood the value of time until I saw people passing away left and right. I saw people losing their ability to take care of themselves. Like, a lot of people went bankrupt. This is because I watch a lot of YouTube. So, you know, some people fall off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I think back and I'm like, dang, like, you know, like, let's say if we had a kid.
Right.
So we had a kid. I have no ability to take care of these kids or this kid, and it was just a lot of stuff, man. So definitely would have set boundaries with this girl instead of just being all for her. You know what I'm saying?
And my final question.
Okay.
Describe the moment. I think you already answered this, but describe the moment that you feel most alive.
Ooh, the moment I feel most alive. That's a crazy question.
Sure.
Gotta give me a second.
No, you're fine.
You gotta give me a second. The moment I feel most alive. Ooh. Parties. Not like headbanger parties. I'm talking about like family parties. I'm talking about like we just had a party not too long ago, where all the families were there. So it's my dad's family, my uncle, my aunt Virginie. There's the Malfo family, which is another brother of my father. A woman named Marie Noel. and then there's a couple other people, and they all have kids.
Mm.
So I love kids too. So I'm a big kids person. So we're all like, this is New Year's. There we go. So like we're all in the room playing the Switch, and they're like, "Come out! It's time for New Year's." So we get out the room, and it's 3, 2, 1. Hey, okay. Then they start turning on the African music. So when the African music comes on, everybody's dancing. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, that's like the most joyful time for me when everyone's having a good time. If everyone's having a good time, I'm enjoying. Like, I hate going to, like, I went to a club in Africa, and apparently it's just like the clubs out here.
Yeah.
People are standing around, like, I'm like, what is this? If I'm like, but yeah, like we're all going crazy. Like, I get to play Lil Uzi, and my little cousin, her name is Ocean, and she kills, the little stiff hips. She's killing the little routine, and we're like, oh my God. And this is like the most fun I ever had, bro.
You told me that you head to Cameroon.
I went to Cameroon.
Do you kind of see the soul of your father out there?
Oof, man, when I tell you, it was such an emotional thing. Like, even landing in Cameroon, I'm like, this is it. You know what I'm saying? And the love I received when I got there. Like I said, my father was a very giving person. So back home, he put a lot of people through school. He built houses for people. It's different from here. It's not as expensive,
sure.
But it's like a big thing, like for me. So like I know, by the grace of God, if I make it, I'm going back and I'm giving back. But the love I received out there, like there's people like walking up to me crying.
Yeah,
I'm like, and it's like in my heart, I'm like, damn, like this is me. This is a part of me. This is a part of who I need to become.
Right.
And unfortunately, like I said, it was hard. So
sure.
I wish I would have got to go back with my dad. I wish I got to experience going back to Cameroon with my dad. But I definitely felt it. I went to the village where he grew up. I seen the house that he grew up in, which is like they turned it into burial sites for the family because, my dad was born in 1972. So, he's already grown up and family has moved out. So they turned into burial sites for the family. And it's just like, dang, like, this is amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah, so I definitely would say I definitely felt the spirit of my father. Spirit of everybody, bro. Everybody.
Thank you for being on the show, man. I don't think there's words to kind of explain what you you think someone, right? You think by looking at someone you have a good understanding of like what someone has gone through. You have no clue. You have no clue.
That's facts, bro.
The way you handle yourself, you would never know. Like, you seem so positive. It's really cool to see someone, no matter kind of the bumps and bruises, to still spread. Because you could be an angry person. You could, inflict pain onto other people.
Facts.
But it seems like you definitely have done a really good job of trying to, even if you had 3 years left to live, to try still. That's just like, it's really cool, man. I hope you're proud of yourself, and I know your father would be. And I think that it's really cool to kind of see where you're at and where you're going. And yeah, man, in terms of everything you explained so far and kind of like the idea that you have and the goals you have set for yourself, like, I mean, your brothers have someone really cool to look up to as well, man.
Thank you, bro.
It's really cool to sit down with you. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us. And,
of course, man.
And yeah, man, this is awesome. Any final thoughts, man, before we go?
Any final thoughts? That's a good question. No, I'm just kidding. Final thoughts. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
I've never had a platform to actually come on and talk about this type of stuff. So I appreciate you for listening to my story, man.
Yeah.
If you're watching, make sure you subscribe too.
Hey. Appreciate that.
No, man.
Good. Well, we have a painting here that was this was made by Mayet Christian, right? So this is my mom actually made this painting. Oh, is this Jaja night?
Yes.
Okay, excuse me. So this is my grandmother,
Fire. Okay. Shout out
and
grandma.
she wanted to make a painting for our next guest. She's like, I want to do it. I want to do it. So, um, and she's not a huge painter, but but I know one thing that she really wants. She appreciates people in their life,
Oh man.
and man, it's just kind of cool to see this all kind of connect in the way it was. Um, and
That's
so
God, bro.
this will be hung up, and and if anyone out there who wants to donate paintings or want to share with us, please do. We would love to be able to kind of get as many artists exposure as possible. And yeah, so yeah, obviously, thank you for everyone for tuning in. And thank you, welcome, and please subscribe. And where can people find you, man? Where can people tune in, catch in? Where can people kind of catch your content?
My ad is really long. CHEEE two Y's on Instagram.
Hey,
YouTube, Big Cheese TV, and that's about it, bro.
yeah, we'll have everything linked in the description below. Thank you guys for tuning in, and to all, good night. Peace.